This episode may contain content of a graphic nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Thanks for joining us today on another episode of Body to Burial. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Nikki.
We're just two regular true crime junkies who decided it was time to see crime from a new perspective. This is Body to Burial. Speeding. We're speeding.
What does that mean?
I guess that means you're rolling? That's what like Will always says. He says speeding.
Speeding?
Yeah.
That's weird. I like rolling better.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They always say we're speeding. Camera one, speeding.
Okay. So who do we got today?
All right. I'm really excited about this one because I really feel like this could be a job I would actually do.
Okay.
And the job is an autopsy technician.
Oh.
I really think I could do it though. Like, okay, here's my main thought, right? Which is you can't really cause any catastrophic harm.
Yeah, but I think you like
dead.
You mentally might though. Like, you know what I mean? Like where even if you know it is.
Yeah, I guess that's just like different though. And I guess I look at it through the lens of like all the science. Like think about how cool it would be to like see the brain and like the organs and like, I don't know. I just like that part of it is like super rad to me. Although in the back of my head, I am a little worried about the smell of it all.
I can just do a pic. No problem. I'm all right with the picture.
Ugh.
I don't know if I'm hands-on.
I feel like I could be. I feel like I could do it. Maybe.
Okay.
I'm worried about the smell because I am very like smell sensitive.
Well, the sounds would freak like a crack, like a like bone cutting through.
I don't think
the
that
sounds
bothers me. I feel like it's a good way to get out some aggression. Like crack this open.
No. I think I could be a visual in a picture and maybe on a video of me not personally doing it where your hands feel it. No, I'm a texture person. I can't even have like crunchy onions in a soft burrito because the crunch stresses me out. No, I'm being fully serious.
Oh my God.
Like I don't like when they're soft and then a crunch. And I would feel like I would be the same.
There's a lot of textures. There's a lot of textures.
The textures, like if it was all smooth, then I would be fine. But then you're going to get like stringy and then snippy. No.
No. And then you got to think about like, because my mind flashes back to our conversation with Juan. You've got a body exposed to elements. Then you've got like, what did he call it? Skin slippage. So, you know, Miss Jessika, who we're talking to today, she's going to tell us all about all these different work. What would you call it?
I'm
work
excited.
Environments, work situations. I don't know.
Okay, I'm in for it. I just don't think that's my jam, but
I'll have to let you know if I change my mind. Because I literally, no joke, looked into going to school for this not too long ago because I was like, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I like it. And I ordered all these books on like autopsies and like whatever. So I feel like part of me thinks I could do it. Okay. Well, I'm going to call her. Let's get her to answer some of these questions because now I'm like, maybe I'm going to eat crow and decide I can't do this job. So let's see.
Hello.
Hey, Jessika.
Yes. Hi,
Hey.
Mariah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Jessika, I'm not going to lie. I'm very excited to talk to you because I was telling Nikki before you joined us that I actually looked into being an autopsy tech not too long ago because I'm super fascinated by your job. So I cannot tell you how excited I am to like get to ask you all my questions. So thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us.
Sure.
Yeah,
and please
thank you.
spare no details. Nikki and I are not squeamish. So go wherever you want to go. We are on this adventure with you, 100% invested. But I guess my first question is, how did you get into being an autopsy tech? I mean, how did you, because like I always think about like little kids, right? Like that's not something that you know is a job. So how did you like first like learn about it and how did you become interested in it and like why?
So I grew up watching X-Files, and I was like obsessed with Agent Scully because not only was she a field agent, but she was also a pathologist. So I thought that's what I was gonna do. Like my goal was to become a forensic pathologist and become a medical examiner. And so I was in undergraduate school on track to, go to medical school. And then I had a financial hardship, so I had to withdraw from school. And so one of my older cousins, he was a homicide detective back in the day, and his former partner was the police liaison for our medical examiner's office. So he actually got me an internship in the office, and then they asked me to apply for my job.
Wow.
And I've been there since 2013 is when I got officially hired, August of 2013.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So it just kind of like almost fell into place.
Yes.
Did you have to finish school for that, or is it a job that you don't finish school?
Actually, do you need in our office, you just need a high school diploma. So you don't need either an associate's degree in mortuary or a bachelor's. I mean, some people have mortuary degrees and some people have finished their bachelor's and even their master's, but you just need a high school diploma in my office.
Okay.
So, and that changes state to state, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of
everything is kind of state to state based because in my office, we do everything as a tech.
Okay.
Wow.
That's wild. So walk us through. So how does an autopsy work? Like, where do you start? You show up. Do you like roll the body out of like the freezer? Like, walk us through your day.
Okay, so we have rotating shifts. So some people come in at 6, some people come in at 7, and some people come in at 8. Usually the people that come in at 6 will, we have what's called a conference sheet. And so it's a list of the cases being done that day and what kind of cases they are. So whether it's a potential drug case or a trauma case, whether it be an MVC, which is a motor vehicle collision, or a motorcycle accident, as well as whether it's like a homicide, possible like cutting wounds or a shooting. So you get the list. It'll have the name of the decedent and their case number. And so you'll go in the cooler and pull out whoever's on the list for that day.
Who determines like who's on the list for the day? Like, how does it get ranked in terms of like priority?
Well, in the beginning, before we ended up with this backlog, it was literally just we would get all the cases. We would clear a board in a day. So it's just whoever. Honestly, in the beginning, it was just whoever was there that hadn't been autopsied yet. And then they would just determine how many cases we do, whether we're going to do 15, 20, or whatever. And then like priority. So like, of course, the trauma cases are top priority because like there's evidence and there's other people involved like crime lab and police and whatnot. So then you go pull out the cases and see what needs what. So if it's a trauma case like a potential homicide or a child, they would also need an x-ray examination or a CT scan. In my office, we also do the x-rays and the CTs. And then you just wait. Morning rounds, the MEs have morning rounds so they can discuss the cases and decide what cases they'll be doing for the day. They would get started giving a list to the office personnel so they can make the labels, as well as starting to do their external examinations. So they're marking down what kind of clothing, if any, the person's wearing, what kind of medical therapy. So whether they have like EKG pads or IOs, which are like those needles they stick in the bone so they can transmit fluids into your system. Whether any of those are on the body. Once they document all of those things, the tech would remove the clothing, would remove the medical therapy, and then would clean up the body for photography.
Now, why are you guys doing the photography? Is that for a case or is that for every?
Well, everyone gets an ID photo. So just in case, like, they might be unknown, so the family can identify them or what have you, or just to have for our files. But if they're, it is a homicide or if it is a, like, pedestrian or some other kind of case where there are injuries to the body, they want to document those. So they have written documentation as well as photographic documentation that they can refer back to when they're doing their report. Or if they have to go to court.
Okay.
So we've completed the external exam. Now what are you doing?
Okay, so the external exam's completed. The body has been washed or cleaned for photos. Photos have been taken. So now this would be where you would start doing your evisceration. Not all cases get a full autopsy. If there's religious objection, usually the Muslim faith or the Jewish faith, they wouldn't want the person cut. So we would just draw tox. Withdrawing tox, that involves getting the vitreous, which is the clear fluid from the eyes, urine, if any is available. Usually in an inspect, you wouldn't get bile because it's kind of hard to get to the gallbladder through the skin. But you would get some kind of peripheral blood, whether it be subclavian or femoral blood, as well as heart blood, if it is available.
This is just a like random science question, but what can you tell from the fluid in the eyes? Why do you take that?
A lot of times it's dealing with like glucose levels.
So
Okay.
you're checking to see the autopsy's checking to see how they passed away,
Correct.
like how they died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I'm like thinking like, I know not everyone gets one because some are like, if you have a pre-existing or whatever, and then maybe some would be easier to tell if it's like a stab wound or a whatever. But yeah, I'm like trying to think like, okay, what do you get an autopsy for? Like, does everyone, like when you said,
Yeah, a lot of people, it's like you're not under a doctor's care, or if you even are under a doctor's care, but your doctor doesn't feel comfortable signing your death certificate, you'll get an autopsy. So not everyone is like a trauma. Some people are it'll end up just being a natural death, but you hadn't seen a doctor in a while, or you had just started going to a doctor and they didn't feel comfortable being like, hey, yep, it was for sure this, but I've only been seeing this patient for a year. This might have been a pre-existing condition they had prior to coming to me, and I don't feel comfortable just signing out when, it could be something else.
are families doing this, or is it just like the medical
Families can request autopsy. Sometimes if they don't meet our criteria, then you could go and get a private autopsy. But if it meets the criteria for potentially being a medical examiner case, they'll bring the case in.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, yeah, and because when you said like trying to find the blood and the heart, I'm thinking like, well, where's the blood? Like, where is that? If you're trying to find it, where is it at? Like, where does that go?
I mean, some people, it depends on when they pass, how long they pass, or they're just not, there isn't enough flowing to get it for, or if there was trauma to the heart, it's like, well, there was already trauma.
Okay.
I've opened cases, the pericardium's open. Okay, more than likely there's heart trauma, so we're probably not going to get any heart blood from this case. Or they like bled out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, or they like bled out on the scene. So it's like there's nothing here. Or like people who commit suicide by like shooting themselves in the head. There's not going to be heart blood. There's just not.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, where is it? Is it like...
It's like they bleed out, and it's like, because the heart is a muscle, it's pumping. So once it either stops pumping or the blood pools and pours from somewhere else, it's not going to be there. So if you have a bullet wound in your head, you're bleeding out, and your heart stops pumping, it's circulated the blood out of your system.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of times when we do GSWs to the head, especially like in suicide, like they don't have any heart blood.
Wow. I had no clue. I always thought that like you just have the blood. Like it's just all there.
No, sometimes it is not, because like your heart is a pump, so it's sending the blood everywhere else.
Really? That's interesting. I would never think that, just because I think I'm like, there's so much blood in your body. How can there not be any? But I guess if you bleed out, then yeah, that makes sense. Crazy.
Or it'll pull in the cavity, which, I mean, you can use cavity blood, but you can't say it's heart blood for sure because it's in the cavity. You don't know where it came from.
Is that like your body? Is your body the cavity?
Yeah, well, like you have different cavities. So you have like a chest cavity, and then you have an abdominal cavity. So everything above your diaphragm is in your chest cavity. Everything below your diaphragm is in your abdominal cavity.
And can you not use that blood to figure it out?
Honestly, we use whatever we can get.
Okay. This is so fascinating.
We use whatever you give us, we will use to figure it out. Because I mean, it's not always. Sometimes, unfortunately, like you might get somebody fresh off the scene. I don't like those cases because they're still warm and it freaks me out. But you can get a body that's fresh off the scene and they have all of the serology fluids. Like, this is perfect. You got heart blood, you got urine, you got bile, you got everything. But then you might get somebody who, died in their house and they don't have anything. You'd be like, I got a little bit of this, I got a little bit of that. So we take what we can get.
Okay.
Whatever you're willing to provide, Nikki, they'll take it.
To give us, we will take it. But it's like it's like I can't. Like whatever you can get, that's fine. You don't have to fill all the cups.
It's kind of like when you go to the doctor and like you've already peed and then they want you to use the cup and you're like,
you want a urinalysis? Like, I got 3 drops. We will take it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Like, I just went to the bathroom before I got here. Oh, well, we will take whatever you can give us.
Okay, good. Yes. So it's just like that. Oh man. This is fun.
Yeah, this is great. So what's next? So now we've got all of our blood and samples. Now what are you going to do?
Yeah, let me backtrack. So that's in the case of an inspect. So there are different kinds of cases. So an inspection is basically like a non-invasive case. So we're not opening the body at all. We're just getting serology fluid. So that might be urine, blood, vit, and that's it. But then we have what's called like a partial autopsy. So like I was saying earlier, in like a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, we don't need to look at your heart. We know exactly how you died. So we might just open your head and look at your brain.
Oh my.
And so we might just open your head and we'll get all of the toxicology fluids, but then we'll just open the head and look at the brain. And sometimes we won't even do that. If there is no projectile to retrieve, we might not even open your head. But if we're trying to retrieve a projectile, we are going to open the head and remove the brain to get to the projectile.
Okay. And what's a projectile?
A bullet.
Okay. That's what I was thinking in my head, but I wasn't sure if that's the correct. I just pictured that I'm like, okay, projectile. That could be like a bullet, a knife. I'm like trying to picture what that could be.
Or, I had a case where it was a hunting accident and they were bow hunting. So there was there was a bow, there was an arrow sticking through someone's head.
Okay,
that's like Nikki's dream. Nikki is like Katniss in the desert. Yes! So you just spoke her language right there.
I was going to say a bullet, a knife, and I was going to say bow and arrow, but I stopped myself. But literally you just...
I've had to remove all kinds of foreign bodies. So knives, arrow. I had a case, which we'll probably talk about later on, but there was a live snake that almost bit me at work.
No.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about a live snake.
Okay, we're going to have to circle back because I'm dying.
So I've seen all kinds of strange things inside of people.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you get into like autoerotic asphyxiation, that like a potato masher, not the peeler, the masher, like the handle up someone's.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because stress, a lot of heart attacks. That's usually in a autoerotic asphyxia. What happens? They either asphyxiate or the stress causes a heart attack. Okay, so and then we also have what's called a partial. Let me get back on task because I could tell you some stories. So,
oh my God,
I feel like I need a cocktail and a cigarette as we go down these stories. This is so fascinating.
I've been doing this almost 10 years. I got some stories that I can tell.
Oh my God.
Oh geez. Okay, so like in a partial autopsy, usually we take a piece of liver. So instead of opening up the whole chest cavity, we literally just open up under the diaphragm to get to the liver. And so there you would take all of the fluids for toxicology, as well as a piece of liver, and do the brain removal. And then the full autopsy is where you do the Y incision you see in movies and on television. That's a full evisceration.
Yep.
So you do the Y incision and you reflect the skin back, you reflect the skin up over the neck, you remove the chest plate, and in my office, we use the Black & Decker hedge trimmers.
No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
Oh. So how much of your tools are supplied by like Home Depot?
Quite a bit, quite a few of
That is
them.
unreal.
Quite a few of them, actually.
Now, is that because they work?
Yeah. Because, I mean, honestly, I like it better. I feel like you have more control using those as opposed to using, like, the striker saw. And also, if you're dealing with someone who could potentially have, like, tuberculosis or meningitis, you're not aerating spores into the air. You know? Which you can do when you're sawing the chest cavity. You're like, you know, it's like bone dust is flying everywhere. And if they have some, like, kind of communicable disease that you could potentially still be affected by, now it's in the air.
Right. Right.
Well, and so I've tried to like cut like a tree branch that was really tough. And let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm picturing.
I've developed some upper body strength. I don't look as strong as I am. It's like I'm a very strong person since doing this job.
Yeah, because you probably got to work at it.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it's not gonna like snap easy.
Yeah, it does take a lot of out, especially when you get up by the clavicle. Like the rest of the ribs aren't so bad, but once you get up by the clavicle, you have to almost put your full weight into getting the trimmer through. So yes. You will build up some upper body strength if you do it if you're doing it enough. I promise you that.
Okay, I got to bring you back for a second, just because we're talking about how difficult some things are. So my next thought is like when you're folding that skin up and over, is the skin like super stretchy, or is that like challenging to do that?
It depends on the person because you know some people have more like fatty tissue. Some people are super muscular. Like muscular people, you're like, oh my, like you're trying to pull and like tuck, and then you're getting a hand cramp because it's tough. trying to pull it through. And then think about this, like, you know, a lot of people are in full rigor mortis, and that's in the muscle. So if they have a lot of muscle tissue, they're like stiff as a board.
Oh my God.
It's like breaking. That's why I said you will develop some upper body strength because you have to break the rigor, especially in their arms. Like sometimes they'll come like with their arms crossed, and you got to bend the arms out of your way so you can get to the chest plate. It's the whole thing.
Oh.
Do you ever feel like weird manipulating a body like that? Like yanking and like pulling on it?
Now, not so much. In the beginning, sometimes, especially like older people, like, oh my God, I think I broke their bones. like you feel,
yeah. I would be saying sorry to the person the whole time.
Yikes. And you hear the bones crunching, you're like, oh, I think I broke something. I'm like, they gonna
right? I would be going, I'm sorry.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, they gonna fix this at the funeral home. You don't worry about that because I didn't mean that. I apologize. I don't know my own strength.
Yeah. See, but that goes along with the sounds. The crunching I don't think I have the stomach for it. I don't think I have the stomach for, as you're describing
but you
have
your music on, Nikki. You've got like, you know.
But I could feel the crunch along with hearing it. That would stress me out. You know, like when you hear it and feel it. And I don't know.
Feel that little pop.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we've used our hedge clippers from Home Depot, and we've got the chest open.
So now all of your organs are exposed. So what I like to do is first, I get all my tox. So I open, what else? I start with the bladder and see if there's urine. If there's urine, I get the urine and I put it in the tox cup. And then I get the bile from the liver if they have a gallbladder. Some people don't have a gallbladder, so you don't have to worry about that. And then usually I go for femoral blood, which is in the it's by the femur. So it's in your legs. So usually I'll cut open the iliac, which is like right above the femoral artery in your leg. Like it's in, how do I best describe this? It's in your pelvis, like in the crease where your legs attach to your hip. Yeah, so in that crease, that's where the iliac and the femoral artery and all of that stuff is. So I'll usually cut open the iliac and then I'll get femoral blood, and then I will open the pericardium and stick the needle in the top of the aorta and get heart blood if there's heart blood. I usually get vitreous last because a lot of times you're like congested, so it'll like drain better if you do it after you've removed the block, the body block and everything. So then next, what I like to do is the hardest part, which is removing the neck.
Oh my God.
You still with us,
Let me
Nikki?
just tell you. Okay, my mouth is watering because I now I know I can never do your job because I might need to put my head between my legs.
Oh no.
My mouth is watering.
You're going to make her pass out. She's not even in there. That's so funny because we literally have the opposite. I'm like salivating because I'm so curious and I'm loving it, and Nikki's going to pass out on us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying I love learning and I'm enjoying it. But when you're like, and then I get to the neck and I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm getting a little. But you can go on because I'll be fine. If I pass out, I'll come back.
So literally like your esophagus, your thyroid, your hyoid bone, your tongue, all of that is like one thing. And so in my office, some offices like hospitals, they'll do like organ by organ. And that's where they'll like remove each organ individually. My office, we do en bloc, so that's literally everything. That's literally your tongue to your colon, all connected, and everything in between, all connected in one piece.
They all come out.
Yep, everything's attached to each other, so it all just comes out together instead of removing everything.
I'm picturing like a chicken gizzard.
I literally can't even picture that.
I'm picturing like a chicken gizzard, like or a turkey gizzard. You know when you get that piece of the turkey?
Yeah.
And you're like, what do I do with that? That's what I'm picturing this is.
That's good eating.
No?
You should cook it.
Well, let's not boil this one, perhaps.
Yeah, let's not. But yeah, so how you do that is, so you want to move. I'm left-handed.
Hold on 1 second. What is the purpose of this? Why are we taking it all out?
Well, because they're gonna dissect the organs and save pieces for stock, as well as get some other things for tox. So we send liver, kidney, spleen, gastric to toxicology for them to test for like drugs or anything else they need to test for.
And why is like, I guess I'm assuming because you don't have a lot of it, but like, why is like a blood draw or a urine, like why is that not sufficient enough? Why do we have to take the organs as well?
Basically because you're looking for also other things. So you might be looking for liver disease. You might be looking for kidney disease. You're looking, like, it might be because like I said, we do natural autopsies as well. Like, you can be natural, undetermined. It could be a natural overdose. You could be stabbed or shot. Or, you know, in cases with kids, a lot of times it's just failure to thrive and like SIDS. Like, we don't know. They just didn't survive. So we're like checking, you know, all of your organ functions to make sure to see what all the things that could have contributed to your death. We're looking at everything in that case.
Okay, that makes sense.
Do you put it back?
The pieces that they don't say, because they send some for like tox. Sometimes they'll save your brain and send it to our neuropathologist. Sometimes they'll save your heart and send it to the CV path, so like the heart pathologist. But the pieces that they don't save or keep go back in a bag in your chest cavity. It gets stitched in, and then you go to your funeral home or cremation.
So it is like the turkey gizzards. It's like in a bag.
Oh my God.
Yes, it's the human giblets, if you will.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, I need some water.
Oh my God. I wish that we were in the same room, Nikki, so I could see you squirming right now.
I'm like literally sweating. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for the next part. Here we go.
So with the neck, you don't want to cut the common carotids because the embalmers need that to embalm. So I'm left-handed, so I bring everything towards me. So I move left to right instead of right to left. So what I'll do is I'll take that part of the esophagus and I'll pull it towards me to the right, so I'm not nicking the carotid, and I want to free, there's like fissure or connective tissue. So then I want to free that and then go to the other side and free that. Then what I do is you flip your blade, and this, you have to be very careful because you don't want to put a hole in someone's neck. We call it buttonholing, because you don't want to be wearing a wool scarf in July at your funeral. Because you got a hole in the middle of your neck. They don't really like that. Okay. We don't like it. It happens, but, we try to avoid it as best we can. So then you want to do like a half moon under the jaw to free the tongue, to free the fissure connecting the tongue. And then you want to take 2 fingers. I use my index and my middle finger and pull the tongue down into the chest cavity.
The tongue literally comes down.
Yes, literally. Once you free that connective tissue, you can stick, basically almost like you're sticking your fingers in someone's throat, and then you pull the throat down into the chest cavity.
You're very good at the visuals.
I mean, I just like legit, I need to come to work with you. I need to see this firsthand.
Yes, I'm a visual learner.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to have to come and shadow you.
Yeah. Descriptive.
Yeah, I know you describe it so well. I'm picturing every step you're doing. Okay, I'm ready for the next.
So once I bring the tongue down into the chest cavity, there's still a little piece of connective tissue where the like hyoid bone and all of that is. So I sever that, and then I move on to the bladder. With women, you're taking, the vagina and the colon. With men, it's the prostate and colon. Mm-hmm. So basically, they're at the base of the pelvis. So I try to like, you want to reach your hands up under and free the colon, so that there's this like, how do I describe it? There's like a pocket of space, like where your butt is, but anterior on the inside. So you want to lift that up and then sever that. So once that's severed, then I start working on the sides and freeing the soft tissue. So basically with this part, you're just going along the spinal column and the aorta, because you want to keep the aorta as intact as possible. So then I'll just pull everything to the right, which would be like the liver, the kidney, that lung is heavy. So sometimes you do it in sections because the organs are very heavy. And then you just want to free the soft tissue along that side, then go to the other side and free the soft tissue along that side. And then you basically just lift the block out and put it in a bucket and put it on the table.
Okay, now what? Now what do we do?
So basically now you just wait. Well, the doctor's going to start dissecting the organs, and they're going to start.
So you like move on to somebody else?
Either that or I move on to the head. So.
Okay, what are we doing to the head?
Okay, so on the head, this is when I get my vitreous. I get the vitreous right before I reflect the scalp. So with the head, you want to prop the head up on a head block. Once you do that, I usually tilt the chin back just so I'll see how the head is going to lay in a casket, kind of. So I don't cut too high, cut too low when I'm reflecting the scalp.
Okay.
And so then you want to go ear to ear. So like I said, I go left to right. So I'm going to go behind the left ear all the way across to the right ear. And then I want to start pulling the back of your head over your forehead.
Oh, okay.
And again, this is kind of stretchy, kind of not, depending on the person.
There's like a lot of connective tissue. So like sometimes it's easier to pull, sometimes it takes a minute. So you're just like freeing all the connective tissue and pulling. But no, like your scalp skin is it's tough because it's mostly exposed to the elements, especially on like bald men who are bald. Their skin is like super tough or people who wear like braid. Like I have locks, and so a lot of people with like locks or cornrows or that wear their hair like with a lot of tension applied to their hair constantly. Their scalps are very tough. Like because of the tension, because of like the sun exposure and all of that. So your skin, your skin's an organ. It's trying to protect you. So it might be thicker or thinner depending upon what kind of hair you have or, how exposed to the elements it is. So some people it's easy, some people it's not. It all depends.
Okay. Yeah, I do people's hair and it's weird. Well, I'm a hairstylist, but like some people's scalps are oh God, it's going to freak me out now touching it. But it's like some are softer and some are tougher.
Yeah,
and now the ones that are going to be tougher. And now the ones that are going to be tougher, I'm going to be thinking in my head, oh my God, you're going to be tough on an autopsy.
You're going to be like, oh, poor Jessica. She's going to have her work cut out with this one.
And so once you get the scalp reflected, you also want to reflect the little bit of scalp that's still on the back of the head down. And then what you want to do is you have two muscles holding your skull in place. They're called the temporalis muscles. They're at your temples, literally. And so you want to reflect those down because they're going to use those to like reconstruct your face for your services. So you want them intact. So your head doesn't look wonky in your casket.
Okay.
And so now you've reflected the scalp, you've reflected the temporalis muscles. If there's injury, you let the doctor see it, see if they want to document anything. If there's not, same thing in the cavity. So if like you see like free blood in the cavity is not a good thing for the most part. So if you see free blood in the cavity, you want the doctor to look because they might want to see where the bleed is coming from prior to you removing the block. So then we get the striker saw. We saw the skull cat.
I'm preparing myself for this part. I'm getting my heart's beating a little faster. Here we go.
Kind of like, Hannibal Lecter. He wanted to eat the brains with the fava beans and the nice Chianti. You pop that off. And then you have what is called the dura mater, which is this like connective tissue that holds your brain in place. So you have a cushion for like head injuries. So if you like fall or you bump your head or whatever, your brain isn't hitting your skull directly. It's hitting this muscle in between to give you some protection.
Okay.
They may want to look at the brain. If the brain's negative, meaning there's no hemorrhage or whatever, so then you just remove the brain. So what you do is you pull the top of the brain back and disconnect the ocular nerve. So then you go to the left side and free the brain from that piece of dura, and then do the same with the right. And then you want to stick your scalpel blade as far down as you can and sever the brain stem. Once you do that, you scoop it up and you put it down until they're ready for it. Sometimes they're ready for it right away, so you can put it in the scale. But most of the time, I just lay it next to the person's head. And then you remove the dura. And then you go on to your next case.
Okay, hold on. We need to talk about the first time you like pulled somebody's brain out of their head. That has to be like extremely surreal.
The brain is heavy.
Okay, like how many pounds? Because I've heard that it's heavy, but like how heavy are we talking?
Like I think an average brain is like 1,500 grams.
Is it hard or squishy?
It's squishy. Some are squishier than others. Like if someone's been in the hospital for a long time, their brain will have like edema and it'll be like mush.
Okay, here comes the runny spit again, saliva. Here we go. I'm ready for the next part.
Okay, so now we've got our brain out. It's next to the person's head. Now what are we doing?
We're either moving on to our next case, or if that was the last case, we're just waiting for them to finish so we can clean up.
And what do you mean by clean up? When you clean up, are you like putting the brain back in? Like is everything going back in?
The giblet bag goes in the chest cavity, and then I stitch you up.
Okay.
I don't do like a super tight stitch because they're gonna undo it at the funeral home anyway. So it's like, why? So I just because they have to like embalm you and pack you and do all the things. So they're gonna unstitch you anyway, so they can like stitch you really tight so you're sealed. So when they embalm you, the fluid doesn't go everywhere. So I just tack you closed a little bit, and I clean you off, and I zip you up, and then I clean the instruments and the workstation. And then I put you away.
Now, can the families be there during the autopsy or no?
They cannot.
I don't think they'd want to see that, Nikki.
Now
would be
the
surprised.
way that you describe it, I'm glad.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that. Like if it was like a loved one, I don't think I could watch that.
Well, neither can now that I know the process. No. I can maybe wait in the waiting room, and then you tell me, like, what's up. But I don't think I could be like sitting on a chair next to the
window,
No.
the viewing window.
No.
How long
no,
did
no.
that autopsy take that we just did from start to finish?
Maybe my part only takes me about 15 to 20 minutes.
That whole
Really?
thing took us 15 to 20 minutes?
It really doesn't take that long, honestly. The only cases
Really?
the
I'm
only
shocked
cases
by that.
take me a considerable amount of time are when there's like projectile retrievals, or if I have to retrieve like a spinal cord or something like that. But like doing a straight through case, it might take me 15 minutes to remove a block.
What's the majority of cases that you see? Are they more natural or are they more like homicide, suicides?
They are more drug and alcohol related.
Oh,
Which I guess
Really?
would be considered natural, because 9 times out of 10, you're not dying from overdosing on the drug. You're dying from the overdose causing a natural event, like a heart attack or...
yeah.
What about like kids? Because like if I was an autopsy tech, I would want to be like, hard no, I don't work on kids. Because I just don't think I could do it. Like they're little tiny bodies. I just don't.
That is me. I don't like doing kids. Like, I literally did my first infant autopsy like 3 weeks ago.
So like you can kind of avoid it. Can I literally say I'm not doing it?
I only like had to because we were like short staffed that day, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it, I guess.
Because yeah, I just feel like they're just so little itty bitty. I
And
just
that's
wouldn't be
my
able
whole thing. I
to
was
do
like,
it.
they're so tiny. I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to like deform or
No.
the body. I don't.
No, and they're just just a little peanut. Oh no, I couldn't do it. Okay.
Do you ever get cases where you feel like affected by? You know what I mean? Like where you're like, oh,
Can you do you go home and like not see that person's face? Like
yeah.
Honestly, it usually doesn't bother me. But I know now not to watch like the CCTV, because sometimes the cops will bring in like the video they have of like the case, and I watched the one CCTV video I watched. It was like playing on a loop in my head, and I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. Because
Now, is that like because you saw how the person died?
Yes,
What is that?
and it was
Does
just
that
like,
mean like
he was just
okay.
like, my guy was like minding his own. It was just great. Like, I know it made like national news. The guy that went on like the rampage, and he went to like the table. He worked at a place where they like made like tabletops and stuff, and he like shot up a bunch of his employees, and then he went to Delaware to a car dealership and shot somebody, and it was insane. And so like they have on video the guys, him like luring them into the middle of the room and started firing, and the guy I worked on was just like had his headphones on and his hat pulled down, minding his business. He walked up and I was like, I can't. I was like, okay.
Oh,
was like,
God,
okay.
yeah.
Never watching CCTV again, because that's all I see.
Okay. So then now the next question I have to ask you, because I did read this book about a pathologist in New York City, which I'll link the book in the show notes because it is a really good read. But one of the cases that they had talked about doing an autopsy for was this like gentleman that had passed in his New York apartment and wasn't found for like several weeks. And so when he got to the morgue, he was like infested with maggots. What has been your experience with bugs? And is that something you see a lot?
Yes, I see them a lot all the time. I don't like it.
Like what kind of bugs? Is it just flies and like maggots?
Spiders, maggots, flies, beetles, dragonfly, all of them.
And then are they just like on the outside of the body, or do
No,
they like crawl
they're
into the
inside.
crevices?
Because maggots, they like eat soft tissue, so they burrow their way in. So they'll be inside. They're inside.
So like you open the body and they're like in there.
Yes. There's no way
wiggling
to like wash them away, because they're like inside and outside, and you'll think you cleaned up, and then you'll turn around and they'll be covered again, and you're just like, okay, all right. Like, why?
I think that might make me puke. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think a body covered in maggots would make me puke.
I have never thrown up at work, thank God, but I have dry heaved to the point where I was like, I gotta walk away for a moment because I can't do this.
Oh my
And what
gosh.
about the smell? Do you put something under your nose for the smell? Because I have to imagine the smells that you are smelling are like not only the dead body, but then you're like opening up the cavity. So then there's all these gases and all of these things just like coming out.
Me, personally, I just tend not to breathe through my nose when I'm at work. But, I mean, I wear a mask sometimes when I'm in isolation and it's really bad. I'll wear my respirator because it's that bad.
Okay.
But no. Actually, if you put something under your nose, it's gonna open them up more. You're gonna smell everything more.
You were the other person that said that. Somebody else we talked to, Nikki. I can't remember, but that's giving me deja vu.
It's
funny because in all the shows,
like clear your. It's just like now you smell everything.
it just makes it worse. Now
Yeah.
it's worse. Okay. Good to know.
Honestly, on the main floor, you really just smell like blood, and then sometimes if you might like nick the bowel, you'll smell fecal matter. But so it's not that bad. Now when you're in isolation, it's awful. The smell is it's just awful.
Why? What's an isolation? Like that's
The
like
decomposed bodies are so so that's where you're gonna deal with your maggots and your strange creatures and people who've been like in creek water for like a week or somebody
like the water, because isn't their skin like slipping off and like
and so you get mummies back there. That's what you deal with, like mummies and just all kinds of things.
well, I'm gonna need you to come back to the snake story because there's no way we're not gonna circle back to that.
Okay, so funny enough, this case wasn't done in isolation. It was done on the main floor, but this is funny. So this day, I was like super late to work. I don't remember what happened, but I was like really late. So I get to work, and I'm like, okay, what cases do I have? And they're like, my coworkers are like, you got this case. And I was like, and everybody's like kind of snickering to themselves. And I'm like, why are they snickering to themselves? What's the big deal or whatever? So I walk in the room, and there's like, you know, those like metal rescue baskets, like if someone's like on a cliff or in water or whatever. There's the tray table where we usually put the body. There's a body bag, and then there's the basket. And I'm like, well, what is this? Because it doesn't look like a person. It looks like a tree. It just looks like a tree. And I'm like, why is there a tree here? Like, is this a joke? Like, y'all playing? Like, what's going on? And so, no, come to find out, there's a man who, he was in like Pennsylvania or somewhere, and he got caught in a storm, and instead of like going indoors or whatever, he like wrapped himself around the tree, I guess to wait out the storm. I don't know. So the tree uproots and comes downstream and ends up here, and a man was foraging on his property for mushrooms, and he finds this, what he thought was a tree, but it's a person wrapped around the tree. But they're like caked in mud. They're saponified, which is like where your like fatty tissue turns to like a soapy wax-like substance. So they don't look like a person anymore. So, but it's in like this shallow creek. So they x-rayed it or whatever. So I'm working with the doctor, and we have a fellowship program to train medical examiners. So I'm working with the fellow, and he's like documenting, and I'm just standing there waiting. So I had my back turned to the body, and he's like talking. And he's like talking this real monotone voice, and he's like, snake. And he was from, where was he from? He was from Pakistan, and he was like, snake. And I was just like, huh? And he's like, snake. And I was like, wait, I know, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, I know I don't hear him saying snake. Like, what is he talking? Like, no, what, huh? Snake. I turn around, and there's literally like a tongue going like darting like in an aggressive manner at me. And I was just like, so I ran from one side of the room to the other side of the room. Because I'm like, I'm not coming back over there until y'all figure out what the hell is going on with this snake. Like, I'm not doing it. Mind you,
my God.
We also have a tour group that just watched me run across the room. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not coming back over there until y'all figure out what's going on with this snake. I'm not doing it.
No. That's a hard pass. Thank you.
No.
Like, I'm not doing it. So they finally get the snake out, and it's literally like a 12-inch, like it looked like a baby, but it's like a 12-inch brown snake.
Ugh.
And I was like, is it poisonous? Is it okay? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
A garter snake? What is it? I don't, okay. All right. I didn't sign up for this this morning.
Did someone take the snake?
Yeah, someone took the snake home because they had a pond in their yard and they took the snake home. I don't know.
No.
I have pictures of the snake. I have pictures of the snake. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, that is not a hazard on the job that I would think I would need to be looking out for.
That is insane.
And then so after all that excitement, it's like, well, how do I autopsy this tree?
Yeah.
I would not. I'd be like, I'm not touching that. Thank you. Somebody else.
So we figured it out. We did the case. It was just, but yes, I almost got attacked by a live snake.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
We go look at the x-ray of the body and it's like it was there the whole time. We just thought it was a shadow. We like, no, like you can see the full length of the snake on the x-ray.
Oh my gosh. No. Yeah, that's a no for me. Basically, your whole job would be a no for me. I mean, you do a great job and I'm glad you can do it. I could never. I get why some people pass out and their first day on the job and they got to go. No, I couldn't do any of it. Just talking about it and the visual is
But just think of the stories, Nikki. I mean, come on.
I got enough stories in the hair salon to like make me feel good. I couldn't.
You're not finding potato mashers in people's body.
That kills me.
I mean, really though, like what? Okay, 2 questions. One, what is the weirdest object you've removed from somebody? And 2,
Love
what
that.
is like the weirdest way that somebody has died?
I think the potato masher wasn't even my case, but I think that's the weirdest thing that I've ever.
That had to be.
I mean, that is an odd object.
I was just like, what?
Is that what killed him?
I think he died from I think he died from a heart attack, honestly. If I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, it was because it was literally like they did an x-ray and you like literally it was the whole handle like to the masher up his rectum.
Oh my.
Yeah, I was just like, okay.
I just don't know on what planet that seems enjoyable. Truly, like.
I don't know. I'm like, strangest way someone's died? I'm trying to think. Oh my God.
And how embarrassing. Like,
that's what I said. I'm like,
if there is an afterlife and you're like sitting up there watching everyone look at you with this thing shoved up your ass, you've got to be dying. Again.
Probably recently somebody got like, they were like breeding snakes and they got like bit by 200 snakes. Or they had, they were like breeding snakes in their house and then 2 of them attacked him.
Oh, like poisonous ones? Obviously.
Like, I think they were like cobras or 2 cobras bit him, but he had like 200 snakes in his house. It was, what?
No.
Oh my God.
No. I mean, that's like, I would assume bound to happen at some point, at least to get bit by one. But like it would be like people that breed tigers or something. Like, yeah, eventually that tiger is not going to be like, it's going to get you. Why would people do that? Oh, God.
Especially in your house and not like in a facility for snakes. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
Random question. Have you seen anybody whose cat has actually like eaten?
Oh yeah,
because you know how that's like
that
a
all
thing.
the time. Matter of fact, we just had a case like that where their German Shepherd and their cat like ate their face.
No.
Oh my!
Like after they've died, maybe of natural causes, and then
they were
hungry?
they were dead at home
Nikki,
for a
have you heard of
while,
that?
and
Like
then-
it's like a thing where they say like, yeah, don't have cats because they eat you.
well, dogs too, but they'll wait a while. But yeah,
Oh my God.
like basically any animal,
What?
they get hungry enough, they're gonna eat you.
No. Oh my God. I never even thought that was possible.
Yeah. Yep. I
And
mean,
they're like,
'cause
that's a thing.
you're just flesh and bone, so they don't. After a while, they don't care. They're just hungry. Like someone come feed me.
Oh
Someone,
my-
anyone.
Isn't that sad, Nikki? This little sweet little animal you cared about is just gonna eat your face.
Savage at some point. No, well, we don't have a dog currently, but I feel like when I do, I don't know if they would do it to me.
Well, no, that's what I said.
It's just wishful
this
thinking.
recent
I hope
case we
someone
had,
finds me.
It was they had a German Shepherd and they had a cat. And they both went to town on him because he had been dead a couple of days.
Oh my
Oh, but that's just gotta also make you so sad because it's like
Nobody checked
that's
on
like
him.
my greatest fear, to be honest, is like nobody's gonna find me dead in my house for like days. Like that is just so sad.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that's awful.
Oy.
I don't really want to wrap this interview up. I have to say, Jessica, I could really just talk
I
your
could talk
ear
to you
off.
forever. Really.
Like this could just keep going, but I will not do that to you. So we just do some kind of like fun, silly questions at the end. Nikki, let's ask her some of our fun questions.
Okay. What are your hobbies besides this?
I like to play with my hedgehog, which I hope he doesn't eat my face one day.
Oh my!
I do.
That's so fun.
What's his name?
His name is Sir Padfoot Black III, after Sirius Black from Harry Potter.
Oh my God. I was just telling my kids that I wanted to get a black lab and we could call it Sirius Black. Because I love Harry Potter. Okay, Mariah, you got one?
Yeah, I mean, I feel starstruck. I'm just like loving you more and more, Jessica. You're like Harry
I know.
Potter, you're into dead people, you're my kind of people. Okay, I guess this is what I would ask you because I feel like your job is one of those jobs that definitely invites curiosity. So, what profession would you tell people you do if you don't want to spend all night talking about your job?
Funny enough, I like talking about my job, so I don't mind. I like the question. I like the questions. I'm like, yes, sure.
I love it.
Like, sure. What do you want? What do you want to know? Especially
I
because,
could see that.
especially because I also enjoy the NCIS, the CSI. I like the shows for what they are. You know, a lot of people assume that is what it is in reality, and I have to be like, no, it's not.
What do you think is like the thing that they get wrong the most? Because that is something we
How
didn't ask
long?
you, but that's true.
In an hour or in 30 minutes they have test results. It takes us 8 to 12 weeks to get you results back sometimes. So, and when you tell families that they're like, what? I'm like, yes, 8 to 12 weeks probably. Maybe longer, maybe shorter, but 8 to 12 is the standard. But TV, yeah.
Not a quick little 30-minute
That's not how this
panel.
works. No.
What do you wear to work?
I mean, I wear street clothes to work, but then I wear like scrubs at work. And then I put paper scrubs.
So you're not doing like your white lab coat.
Oh yeah, I wear white
with
lab
like
coat.
your high heels on.
Oh no. I'm like that part. I'm like, why would you have on heels? There's blood and other fluids. Like that you just don't want on your nice shoes.
Right?
It's like I won't even buy those like Dansko clogs because they're over $100. I'm like, what? Who's paying? Why would I pay over $100 to possibly have blood and other things on my shoes? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, those are cute, but no.
This is something we always ask everybody: is what would be the song that you think would be the perfect theme song for your job?
The song that would be the perfect theme song for my job.
Nikki, I can always count on you for a song. What do you visualize when you see her job?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking of the Thriller Michael Jackson song, but I don't know why. Just because there were zombies moving.
They're zombies and they're moving. Grooving.
That's a good
I can see that. I mean, I could see it.
That's like the first thing that like popped up in my head, but I mean,
I
might be a
feel
better
like
one out
that,
there.
or I feel like I would pick like, what's that song? That I Feel Happy song? Just because I feel like it's such a downer environment that you need something like peppy.
Funny enough, it's not. Like that's what people think. I'm like, it is not somber there at all. It's like, I mean, there are some cases that like get to you, but for the most part, it's like, I mean, it's like any other career. We just happen to deal with the dead.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
like,
all right, well,
how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. How do you do your job?
I just don't feel like it compares, though, Jessica. She cuts hair. Like,
okay.
It's
I
not
mean,
the
like, I may
same.
not be a hairstylist, but I've been in hair salons most of my life. I done seen some things, so I know.
Right?
I know it can. I've seen some horror stories. Walk through the door
Yeah.
and leave out the door. So I know she has seen some things. She has had to fix some things. Because, you know, everybody wants to be a kitchen beautician every now and again. You're like, oh, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You should put the bleach down. You should.
Yeah.
You should.
And you hear it and you see it. You hear a lot of stories about lives and just a lot of stuff. Good and bad.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. But yours is definitely a lot different. I don't think I could do it. I mean, yeah, I can't. And now I know I can't just because I was ready to pass out just from the description and I'm not even seeing it physically. I thought I could always look at the pictures. I was telling Mariah that I'm like, maybe I could be the picture looking at the pictures of the autopsies, but now I think it's confirmed. I can't do that either. No. I could read the report.
Some of those reports are as descriptive. It's not more descriptive than I am. I'll tell you.
Right? I know. Well, maybe I can't read that either. I'll just get the Cliff Notes.
Oh, geez. That's funny.
I have a question that I always like to ask people too is what is something that you hoard?
Oh, goodness. Pens. I like pens.
Okay. A lot of people are pen hoarders.
I don't know if it comes from working in food service and you know you get that one good pen and then it goes missing and you're just like you're crushed. like who took my I need my pen back. Please make sure I get wait, I wasn't even gonna walk off with the pen. No, but I need to make sure I get. It's a nice gel pen. It glides. I need it back.
That's funny. A lot of people are pen people. I mean, I have certain pens, but in a pinch, I'll use a crappy pen. But you know, I do like the pens that are my faves.
Funny enough, I just realized we didn't even talk about removing the testes.
We have time. Go for it.
So basically, in a homicide with men, we have to remove the testicles because they may have been assaulted. And they want to check, or they might have gotten shot in the testicles. I've seen quite a few of those shot right in the front.
Really?
Yes, I've seen quite a few people shot in the penis and the testes.
Oh my God.
And so,
now, could that kill someone?
I don't know. I don't want to say yay or nay. I don't know. But I've seen it. I have seen it.
If you talk to a guy, they're probably like, yes, it can kill someone.
I'm like, I know it probably hurt real bad, but I don't know if it'll kill him. But I have seen it. Or like, I remember I had one case and it was like crushed and I couldn't remove it. And I was like, Doc, it's crushed. I can't. She was like, don't worry about it. I was like, okay.
Now, why would it be crushed? Because someone kicked them?
I believe that's what happened. I believe they got like kicked. And so it was like crushed, like because there are two inside the scrotal sac. There are two pockets, one for the left, one for the right, and so it was like adherent. Like I couldn't even get. I can't get it out.
Now, what would be? And this might be a weird question, but like, how big is a ball?
They're not. I will say it depends. Like older guys, a lot of times they have like fluid on them, so they'll be quite large. But an average one is probably like the size of like, I want to say like a big walnut.
Okay, that's pretty huge.
Okay.
To me, I feel like that's a big ball. Each ball.
Yeah.
Each testicle.
Right. Each sack. Right.
Each testicle is like probably the size of like a walnut.
Oh man. Okay.
Okay, this is another question though, in that vein though, like because I feel like again it goes with people who are like waxers. I could never do it. But like how do you're obviously not prepared to die. So not everyone's like well groomed and like manscaped. I feel like that's got to be like something that would be like, ugh. Or does it not bother you? 'Cause you just don't even think of it.
At this point, it doesn't bother me. I mean, some people, like, when I see, like, some people who are, like, completely, like, shaved, I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, okay. Especially, like, more so, like, guys than, like, women. It's like, you find a lot of guys these days are, like, fully shaved, and it's like, what? Okay.
You're just keeping it smooth, I guess.
like, this is interesting.
Is there a sound that you associate with your job? Like every time you hear it, you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm at work.
Let me think. Yeah, like road work.
Oh no.
Like the sawing and the jackhammering. Like road work. Yes, road work.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Or it's just bad, like burnt flesh and like charred flesh. It smells like barbecue. And so
Really?
yes.
Well, that answers the next question as to, is there a smell you associate with your job?
Yes, like like when I say like char grilled, like old big smoker, like smoky barbecue.
Yeah?
It smells like that's what super charred people smell like.
Well, I guess at least it's not terrible smelling.
No, but it's just like
Not like
the first time I was like, this is. I was like, but I remember the first time I smelled like a charred person, and I was like, this smells like barbecue.
Yeah.
Like this is it. I was like, is this okay that I feel this way? Somebody? They're like, no, that's what it smells like to all of us. I'm like, okay. So are we all weird or like no? Because I'm like,
Right?
Are we a special breed of people?
That reminds me of that movie, Fried Green Tomatoes, when they're barbecuing the.
Yes.
That's what I'm picturing. And I love barbecue, so now I'm never gonna be eating Lucille's and picturing it the same way.
Oh, but see, I just feel like the mental images of that had to have did it not fuck with your head when you first started your job? Like, I feel like every time I would go to sleep, I would see like a charred person or a decomped body. Like, did it eventually wear off? Was it kind of like shocking in the beginning and then you just kind of got used to it?
I've always been able to like compartmentalize and disassociate. Like even when I had dreams about work, it was always like my coworkers, and we weren't like doing autopsies. We'd be like in the hallway talking or in the office. So like I never like had dreams about work, like actual like work.
What about like, do you ever like get a case like kind of like Nikki said where like you're just like, God, I wonder what happened to that person. Like I really wonder what took them out. Like, do you ever have ones that just stick with you that you just have to like follow up on? Or do you really just keep it separate and just do it and go home?
I keep it separate. For the most part, like, I mean, you can look at somebody who, like, we'll get people that'll come in, like, neon yellow. It's like, okay, clearly they're jaundiced. Clearly they have liver disease of some sort. And you'll open them up and their liver will be fatty. And you're just like, yep, that's what it, or they'll be full of fluid. And you're like, yep, that's what it was. Or, like, obviously, you got hit by a train. I can tell you got hit by a train.
Oh, my.
Like this. I remember I had a case where the guy got hit by a train. He was unknown gender, unknown who this was or whatever. And I'm like, and I just get this pile. It's like a pile of clothes and a pile of, like, tissue. And it's like, okay. And I'm like, it's a boy. And the doc's like, how do you know? I was like, I found a testicle.
Oh my God.
I was like, at least that much is solved here. Because it's about, like,
you contributed.
At least we know that. Like, how do you know? I was like, I found a testicle in this pile that I had to sort through and try to organize.
Oh my
gosh. Okay, but where does this put you, like, serious question, where does this put you in, like, terms of, like, your own death? Do you feel, like, more afraid, or do you feel, like, okay with it, like, being around it all the time? Is it something that you think about yourself?
I mean, I'm not afraid of death. I just, like, I told somebody, I was like, I just want to wake up dead. I just want to go to sleep and then wake up and not be alive anymore. I don't want to feel any pain. I don't want to, I just want to wake up dead. Like, wait, oh, you died last night. Oh, for real? somebody to tell me. I don't want to suffer. That's it. I'm like, I'm not afraid to die, but I don't want to suffer. And I want to be found immediately.
But what about knowing that your body's going to like somebody else is going to come in and like do an autopsy to you? Like that doesn't like make you like.
I'm hoping I'm going to be so old I won't need one.
It won't matter. You won't need one. Okay.
I won't need one. But if I do need one, I definitely don't want it to be any of my coworkers because those people.
Right, there you go.
That's my only. I'm like,
It can't be anybody
if I
that
have to be
knows
young,
me.
I want to be in another state. I was like, if I'm going to be young, I want to be in another state. But I would like to be so old, I don't need one. And I just don't want to suffer. I just want to wake up and not be alive. I don't want to suffer. I want to be found immediately, and I don't want to suffer.
Enough.
Those are the only. Those are my only stipulations.
Those are fair.
Those are my only stipulations.
I like those.
Find
Restraint.
me. I'm like, don't let me decompose. I've already told. I'm like, don't let me decompose. Find me immediately.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Nikki, round her out with one last one.
Just a stupid one. Do you prefer Pepsi or Coke?
When I was drinking dark sodas, I was a Pepsi girl.
Oh, you don't drink dark sodas.
Too much caffeine.
I stopped drinking sodas
I
too.
just drink my caffeine in my coffee.
Okay, but you liked You said what? Pepsi or Coke?
I was a Pepsi girl when I drank dark sodas. Which is funny because my mom's
There you go.
to this day is a Coke fanatic, and I'm like, I don't know how this stuff is strong.
And I feel the same way about Pepsi. I'm like, I'll do Pepsi in a pinch, but I don't really drink soda that much anymore. But when I did, it was definitely a Coke. Because Pepsi, I'm like, if they have it, okay. But I'm more of like your mom. I need a Coke.
What would your last meal be?
My last meal would be home cooking from my mom. So it would be fried chicken, her baked macaroni and cheese, and collard greens.
I love that.
Are you going to have a Pepsi with that, or what are we going to drink?
What are we going to drink? We're going to have a glass of Stella Rosa Black.
Ooh, I love Stella Rosa.
Yeah, like that's, yeah.
So good.
That's a good last meal.
That's great. I feel complete with my meal. Got a nice glass of wine, good home cooked meal. I feel good.
No dessert?
Oh, dessert?
No.
Pecan pie. With some
homemade or from somewhere?
It could be homemade. It could be either or. I'm not picky with my pecan pie. I just make sure there's a nice custard to crust ratio with some butter pecan ice cream on top.
Ooh.
Okay.
I mean, that's a great meal. I feel
That
satisfied with that.
That is.
Jessika, you were so delightful and so much fun. And I am not joking. I would love to come and watch you work because I'm fascinated by what you do. And thank you for doing it. And thank you for talking to us.
Of course. Thank you all for having me.
Yes.
Of course. So that's a hard no for you on that occupation?
Not even in that realm.
You don't want to see a brain? You don't want to hold a brain in your hand?
No.
Yeah, I do. So bad I do. I mean, I don't want to deal with the scooping and soupy brain.
I couldn't do any of it. I'm not peeling anything back. I'm not Black & Decker, sawing things and snapping. No. Never. I don't think I could even cut a twig off my tree now without thinking about that. It's a big no for me.
She's got some story. She's a party hit. That's your party entertainment. And it's so methodical for her. It's just and then we do this, and then we do this, and no big deal. I just pull your tongue through your throat, down into your stomach. No biggie. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. She can peel you back and bag up your organs.
You know what I was thinking about the potato masher thing? Why didn't your partner remove that? Just be courteous and remove that.
Maybe he was alone. Because sometimes they do that shit alone.
Okay.
You know? They're getting their erotic fix solo. Because you would think if there was a partner, they legit wouldn't send you off with a thing in your ass. I mean, come on. I hope you love me enough to
like a hamster
cover up.
Yeah.
So remember, I have to feel like he was alone.
I mean, because if someone's sending you off with that potato masher, that sucks. That's a bit. That's a bad
I would
day.
be coming back to haunt the hell out of them.
Yeah.
You're just going to let me roll out of my apartment with a masher?
Yeah, I mean, I bet she's seen a lot of things.
I mean, I kept thinking about all the different Grey's Anatomy episodes. I don't know if you're a big Grey's Anatomy person,
No. Mm-mm.
but oh God, the things that they've shown on that show that people have like had in their body during sexual encounters.
What?
I can only imagine the things that she has seen. I will never understand how that is like, but who am I to judge? Do whatever you want. But for me
Why?
personally, that's not going to get me there.
What a crazy job. I couldn't do
That's
it.
a job worth like blogging about. I'm telling you.
Mm.
The stories alone are just insane.
Yeah, I really was getting queasy. I'm not kidding. Like my ears started ringing. I'm not joking.
Oh God, I would have died if you passed out.
No, literally had to, I was like contemplating, should I get up and go get some water? I mean, my saliva was getting really runny. And then like my stomach was getting turned. And then when she was talking about the why and the clavicle and then the skin peeling, and I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I was taking a turn. But then I had to like bring myself back.
See, like this is where I'm always more concerned of like, that's going to be me someday. Being wheeled out of a fucking fridge, thrown on some table, and they're going to be blasting their music and like going to town and putting my organs in a giblet little bag.
That's why I wish that I go out like her, old and just
Gotta be
night-night.
natural causes, baby. Yeah,
Night-night.
natural causes.
Yeah, like I don't want to have an autopsy.
No. And then think of those sweet little baby angel babies and
Oh
children.
my
Like I
God.
couldn't do it, Nikki. That would be a
No.
hard stop for me. There's no way.
Like I said, it's just like every job of these, I can only do 85 and above.
Yeah, I want to stick 85 and above and a partial. I'll do partials.
A partial.
I'll just collect some samples.
Well, we'll see if next week could top this one.
I feel like we've peaked. That's it.
I don't think we have, though. I think every job has an element of this where you're like, what?
I am here for it. I mean, I really wanted a cocktail. I wasn't kidding. I felt like, ooh, this is like heavy. I need a little bourbon. And I mean, I haven't smoked a cigarette since I was like 19 years old, but I really could have used one of those too.
So we'll see what happens next week.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening and supporting us. We do encourage you to follow us at Instagram at Body to Burial. Hit us up on Twitter at Body to Burial. And you guessed it, you can send us an email to hello@bodytoburial.com.
If you have any guest suggestions, just let us know. Please hit the subscribe button or follow button on whatever app you are listening to.
Thanks so much, guys. See you next time.